Hi, I'm Louise Fletcher, abstract painter, and today I want to talk to you about working in a series. When I first returned to painting seriously, which was about 7 or 8 years ago, I always used to work on one piece at a time. It felt distracting to move on to something else, as if I was messing about if I didn't finish the one I'd started. I felt I should somehow diligently work to resolve each painting before beginning another. But when I started to work on more than one piece at a time, I was hooked. I now always have anywhere from between 6 to 12 paintings in progress, and actually on my current series, which I'm wrapping up, I think I will finish 40 paintings in that series. And I find this so much easier, so much more enjoyable. So let me tell you why. Number one, it takes the pressure off. When I only worked on one painting at a time, I felt pressure not to make a mistake. I'd get very precious about that particular painting. But if I have 10 on the go, then none of them feel precious in that way, and I'm free to experiment. And the best results always for me come from letting go and experimenting. The tighter and more controlled and precious I am, the more the painting dies right in front of my eyes. Number two, it allows me to explore an idea. So any idea you have will have many facets, and you can dig deeper and deeper into most ideas and just keep going. But if you're working on just one painting, that's really difficult. That painting then has to do everything in that idea, and that's really a lot to put on the back of one painting. So my current series that I'm finishing is a series of paintings in response to the nature poetry of Ted Hughes. And because there are 40 pieces, roughly 40 pieces, I think, that is giving me the ability to respond to different parts of his poetry and different ideas in his poetry in a different way in each painting. So one painting might feel very dark, and that might go with a darker feeling poem. One might be very light and might represent something about snow, or one might have a feeling of real energy, and one might have a calmer feeling. And because I have this whole body of work to respond to these poems with, I can do a lot more. Each painting in the series can have its own direction and personality, but because I worked on them at the same time, within a period of about 1.5 years actually, these paintings, they all tie together, they're cohesive because I worked on them at the same time. I don't have to force them to be cohesive, they just are. Number three, I can apply what I learn quickly. So I'm always experimenting and trying new ideas. And if I try something on one painting and it works, I can often think, oh, I bet that will actually help me with that other painting over there that I'm stuck with. I could do the same thing and see what happens there. Or I find a new colour for a painting, I say, oh, that's going to look brilliant on those other two that I was working on. So when you have a discovery, you're able to use that discovery and test it out in different ways on different paintings. And that can be really exciting. Number four, it makes me raise my game. So I might consider one painting done or almost done. I put it to one side, I work on a few others, and then they surpass that first one. They get better than the first one. And I come back to it and I go, you know what, it wasn't good enough. And I work on it some more. So the whole series lifts up. Each painting lifts each other up. It's really, I get much better results. And finally, something that I alluded to, number five, is it makes a cohesive body of work. These paintings grew up together, so they all tend to work well together, even when they're quite different from each other individually. As a big group, if we were to look at them in a gallery space, we would see that they all hang together. They're all clearly by the same person, and clearly by the same person at the same stage of her development as a painter. So when I hang them, or in this case, these paintings are going into a book, they will make sense as a group. In the end, everyone has to find his or her own way of working. This might not suit you, but I recommend giving it a go. Because for me, there's no going back. I can't see working an old way again. And if you're a representational painter, you might not see how this could work for you. But just imagine that you have an idea. For example, let's just say for a floral. you get a lovely arrangement of flowers and you'd like to do a painting of that arrangement. Imagine if you did a series, and a series can be 3 or 4 paintings. It doesn't have to be 20 or 40. Let's say you decide to do a series of 3 paintings of those flowers. Now you can approach it from a different angle. One might be from a distance with the vase kind of off to one side and a plain background. One might be a real close-up so that we feel we've got our head in the flowers. And one might be from a different angle. And then you might think, you know, I'm really enjoying this. I think I'll do 3 more. And you could explore those flowers for quite a long time before you exhausted the idea. Same for a portrait, same for a still life. Or you might do a series of still lives where, let's say, one feature remains the same. So you always have the same jug and then different other elements. Or you do a series of still lives all featuring oranges, and then you work on different ways to make those oranges look amazing. This is not just for abstract painters. Everybody can get the benefits of working in a series. One final point is that, as I mentioned, a series does not mean anything more than a set of work that you worked on at one time with something in common. That something in common might be a color palette, it might be a concept, it might be a compositional idea, but something ties them together that makes them into a series, and it can be anywhere from 3 to 100, 1,000 paintings. You decide what a series is, but I do think that there needs to be something that's holding them together so that it makes sense to you. It keeps you on track with the ideas that you're exploring in the work, and it makes sense to people who will come and look at the work. That's it for me. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. I'd love to hear from you. And do check out the links below, including the link to my artist community, Your Art Tribe, where we talk about these kind of ideas and we experiment and we have assignments and we have guest artists. And we have the most amazing supportive community of artists that you could imagine. I'd love to see you there. Meantime, if you don't want to miss my videos, do subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Bye-bye.